Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes, facts,
Boots!
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Space Ghost and a bunch of feral cats.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the
I don't know, you called me murderous last time.
well,
That's a
because
little
it
frightening.
fit with the story. Now we have another double feature this week, and it's hard to find. This is Mike, by the way.
Hello.
I didn't come up with a cool little thing.
There you go.
The misunderstood one,
Maturation.
Mr. Mike. There we go. Another double feature this week. More in the indie comics realm, I guess, if we want to.
Yep.
It's Image and Dynamite are the two books we're looking at.
Dynamite.
We had IDW last week. I kind of love this. We're not focused on any Marvel or DC
No, I do
titles.
like
We
that.
are.
Yeah.
We're kind of spreading around. A lot of these are current titles going on too, which is nice as well to kind of look. Hey, there's some good stuff out there comics wise.
That is cool.
That's not from the big ones. The ones we're focusing, or the stories we're focusing on this week, is Feral, which is from the same creators that did Stray Dogs, which we loved. We read the whole series of
But
that
this
time.
is cats.
This is Cats. This one's just coming out right now, and it's the group of Trish Foster and Tony Fleecs. I feel bad because I don't
Fleeks
remember which way
Flex.
it is.
Yep.
It's Fleecs. Either way, fantastic stuff. Stray Dogs, if you have not read it, I
Yeah, it was
can't
really
recommend
good.
it enough.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good. The art, Trish Foster's art, there's an N in there. Trish Foster's art does such a good job of capturing like a Disney style in a sense,
Yeah.
but it feeds so well into the story.
Yeah.
It's just really good.
Yeah,
I loved
very
it from,
much
from
looks
top to bottom.
Like what did I say yesterday? It looks like 101 Dalmatians almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. And then you even got a Jeff Johns quote on the back, who was big at DC, ran DC for a bit.
Okay.
Known for his runs on Green Lantern and stuff like that. Oh,
Ugh.
Jeff Johns did the Booster Gold run we covered.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right, there you go.
So big name in comics. Jeff Johns has
Yeah.
the quote on the back. Feral is an iconic animal adventure series that brought me back to emotional tales akin to Watership Down and Animal Farm. Another home run from this creative team.
Watership Down.
Dude,
Boy,
Watership Down, if
talk
you're not
about
ready, we'll
depressing.
mess with you.
Yeah.
If you were a kid going into that
If you
thinking,
like rabbits,
this will be fun.
If you like rabbits, don't watch it.
No.
Yeah.
I said it's a double feature.
You've seen the cartoon, right?
Yeah, I've seen the
animated.
I mean,
You can't even call it a
are
cartoon.
you talking about the 70s one?
Uh-huh.
Like the original? Yeah, that's. I haven't seen they remade it on the BBC
Oh, did they really?
with computer animation.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
thank
you've
you.
seen it once. You're
I'll
good.
take that. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings for me. The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, they were done in the 70s.
The animation one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ralph Bakshi, right?
Was it?
Wasn't it Ralph Bakshi?
Was it Bakshi? That's who
did-
did Fritz the Cat and all
Didn't
that,
he
right?
do Wizards and all that stuff?
He did
too?
do Wizards.
Yeah. I think it's the same guy.
And he also did, I don't know, he had a run there. But as the train goes by to add some
Eh.
lovely
Who cares?
ambiance
It's a
to the rest
train.
of this.
We can't control the trains, folks.
We can't make them run on time or late for that matter.
No, that dude's dead.
We'll split up the double feature. Feral to start out, and then after the break, we'll come back and we'll do Space Ghost, which I am
Go.
so stoked for. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch things up.
Okay. Let's do it.
I'm going to switch things up. We're going to go Space Ghost first. I know I talked Feral up, all of that. It is a really
Like
good
a roller
book,
coaster in
and
here.
we are going to get to it. But I know that Mike is chomping at the bit
Oh, yeah, I want to do
for Space Ghost.
Space Ghost is great.
And by the time we're done with Feral, I think he'll want us to continue that too. So we'll do all these. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Space Ghost,
that's
which,
pretty.
by the way,
Beautiful cover.
the cover is absolutely fantastic. And there was a couple different ones. I think they had all the variant covers here on the back.
Yeah.
Our local comic book shop had there's more than that, had the one like that
Yeah.
and the one,
Those are
those
like
two.
too realistic.
They were
This
more
one
realistic.
reminds me of like Venture Brothers. on
Well,
the
it reminds me
front.
of the
Kinda looks like that.
cartoon
Mhm.
from the 60s.
But it's very like Venture Brother-ish,
yes.
which I guess Space Ghost came first.
So
then later.
Space Ghost, a lot of people are probably going to be familiar with Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
Mhm.
which is having its 30th anniversary this year. That
Live
was
stream on YouTube.
it is. It's still live streamed on YouTube. I watched it the other. I've watched Bob Costas. I saw Mark Hamill on there.
Yeah.
Randomly, I will turn it on because I enjoyed it. Always
Great.
did. But that is what a lot of people know it for, of just them being silly, goofy, like television show.
Can I bring up one
variety.
thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have I do another show called Swimmer's Ear, all about Adult Swim,
Mhm.
and we did Space Ghost, but we did the Lost Pilots. There's two.
Oh,
there's
okay.
two Lost Pilots, and one of them involves Denzel Washington, and instead of paying the $75,000 it was for his rights,
Yeah.
they just bleeped him out every time. And it was very, very good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny.
Very, very well done.
So what they did, because this was Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and since y'all do have Swimmers here, you can help me on this
Mm-hmm.
a bit. Was one of the first kind of Adult Swim type things that they did. It was under comedy. It was under Cartoon Network still.
Yeah.
But
It was
in that realm.
it was
kind of.
literally the first one, I believe. Yeah.
So, and what they would do is they would take footage
and they had
of.
no idea if it was going to work.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So they had a bunch of Hanna-Barbera footage because that's what
Turner
Turner
Yeah,
bought
Turner
for Cartoon
owns
Network.
Cartoon Network, so he owned Hanna-Barbera. Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera had a cartoon, I believe, from like 66 to 68. My years might have been off. That was just Space Ghost.
Right.
And it was quick little, however you think of like, what's the one with like, not Thundar, but we've talked about it before. It had the glowy guy and the little wolf, or no, wolf, the lion man.
Yeah, that's Thundar.
That's Thundar? Okay.
Yeah, with Oogla the Mook.
Yeah. But like, that's what they were put together.
It's like one of the names I remember from
And
my
so
childhood.
Space
Oogla the
Ghost,
Mook.
and so Space Ghost was like a 22-minute show,
Mhm.
and it would
Yeah.
either have 2 or 3 little shorts.
It was Hanna-Barbera at its finest. Like it's not the most expensive animation in the world.
Exactly.
It's pretty simple.
but it was serious and straightforward, and it was Space Ghost along with the twins Jan and Jace and their monkey Blip, and they would fight things like
Because if you want a
Zorak.
serious show,
It no, I mean it
you
was.
put
I
in a
know.
monkey and you name it Blip.
I know, but
Yeah.
it was supposed to be a serious. Like he was fighting.
It
Like
was,
Space Ghost
yeah.
was saving them,
Yeah.
and then they took that footage and turned it into the comical show it was.
Well, we also have to think about the time when Space Ghost was out. This
It,
is late
that fit
60s.
in with everything else that was on at the time.
Yeah,
it
all
wasn't
the
out of
kids,
place at all.
they were involving teens and
Yeah,
animals.
it wasn't out of
Well, you
place at
think
all.
of it like at the same time as Batman, the TV show.
Very
I
much
mean,
so.
it's the same kind of vein.
But what we get here, I will say, is if you were hoping for a comedic Space
No,
Ghost,
I assumed
we're not, and I'm totally fine with that.
it's a gritty reboot.
It's not. I wouldn't call it gritty like that, but I like where this is, and I really like just knowing everything that I know about Space Ghost. I like what it is because I watched the original cartoons a little bit when they would run the reruns on Cartoon Network, but mainly I watched more Coast to Coast. But the cool thing here is seeing the characters and knowing them from other things and being able to see them in like a serious light.
Yeah.
I will say the book is written by David Papos with art by Jonathan Lau. I hope I said that right then. I heard on another podcast that David Papos was on where he was talking to Dan Exclaims, actually, at the bar. It's a great podcast he just started. But he was talking about that he kind of got, David Papos was that he kind of got free reign a bit then with writing this, of where he went through, he watched all the old cartoons.
Yeah.
He did all the research, so you don't have to read anything for this.
That's
like
cool.
you can pick up issue 1 and you just jump right in.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people out there that won't even know who the hell Space
Exactly.
Ghost is. You know?
But if you do know who Space Ghost is, or you
Damn
know little
kids.
characters here, the cool thing is you're gonna pick up on other
yeah,
little
yeah,
things
yeah,
too.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and dive into.
Well, and this is not one of those characters that you can do this with and not go full in on either side. So you either have to be full on comedy
or full on camp.
serious.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
for sure. All right, well, you said comedy.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's just
full on
stupid.
serious
Yeah.
or full on camp. One of the two. It opens up with across the vastness of space, evil flourishes in the darkness between stars.
Yeah, do.
Where territories spread far and wide across the Galactic Federation, Pirates and hijackers have ransacked these distant colonies with cruel disregard for the innocent scientists living within them. Yet, there is a cosmic vigilante who metes out justice across the spaceways, bringing vengeance to those who prey upon the defenseless. They call him Space Ghost.
You know, he's one of the only heroes that has his own face on his chest.
He does. I never noticed that. But honestly, he kind of has a cool look. I've always
no,
thought
he has a
Space
great
Ghost
look.
cool.
I don't know where his genitals are, but he has a great look. Yeah.
And his codpiece.
Mm.
So
Think he has a codpiece?
I don't know what is.
He's a ghost.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I think he's all Ken down there, like just smooth. I don't think there's anything there.
You heard it here first. Space
Yeah.
Ghost is like
Space
Ken.
Ghost is like Ken. Smooth.
So we open up with it looks like a ship is on fire. Out
yeah,
in space.
and I want to comment on the difference between the art in the comic
And the art on the cover. It's a different cover artist. I'm pretty sure
it is
too.
an entirely different looking series when you open it up.
It
It's
does.
very,
And
and
has a
I'm going
very-
to say it again. It looks gritty.
It does.
You
It
know,
has
it
a
looks a
very
little more-
realistic, gritty feel.
Very real. It feels like a Batman comic almost.
It does.
I didn't realize Dynamite is Warner Brothers.
They're
Did you see that?
where?
Turned over on the back, down there in the corner.
Copyright 2024 Hanna-Barbera Space Ghost.
Oh, okay.
It's for the
Okay.
it's for
So
the
it's just for the
licensing
character.
Space Ghost.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Wait, hold on. That is weird though.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Well, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like the Turner stuff was never Warner Brothers. I wonder if he sold it. Maybe he sold the whole kit and caboodle.
Well, no. Turner bought DC and all that in the early 2000s.
Turner did?
Yeah, like AOL and all them did. AOL did.
Well, okay. Oh, fucking AOL.
It's good that
Looking
we.
at something today.
Here's the
and a
thing.
freaking article came up and I read it and I realized it was on AOL.
It's good that we talk
What
about.
the hell?
It's good that we talk about this real quick, Mike, because we haven't talked about it this summer. I am going to introduce you to the worst comic ever written.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was written around that time.
Was it in that collection of stuff I brought?
No, it
Okay.
wasn't actually.
All right,
I
great.
say that. There might be stuff there. I say
Yeah.
that knowing
Oh,
that
I'm sure there's worse.
this is collective. This
Sweet
is
meat.
might be the worst mainstream comic ever written.
Oh, yeah. Well, I assume that it's a mainstream comic if you're talking really bad.
It's called Marvel. It was produced by Marvel in like 2003, I think. And like part of
Marville?
Marvel,
Marville?
like Smallville kind
okay.
of.
All right.
There's a lot of AOL, Time Warner,
References?
Ted Turner, Jane Fonda jokes in it and stuff.
So it's like
In
it's,
2003, Mike.
it's like that last Matrix movie or the new Space Jam where they're just bringing up who they are and what they're doing the
It's-
entire time.
Here's in the intro for it, it tells you who Superman is and explains to you about Superman in a Marvel comic.
That's perfect.
So you know who it is since you as a comic book reader
Yeah.
probably have no clue because the guy who wrote it thought that people who wouldn't read comics would just randomly buy.
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever.
we'll get into all that when we
That's
get there. Anyway, back to Space Ghost.
Back to Space Ghost.
So we open up with a spaceship just being attacked by these pirates, and there's a father with his two kids. It's a doctor, Jared Kepler, with his children Jan and Jace,
Okay.
and they need help. Like, we're under attack. We need help from the Galactic Patrol. Like, we're not getting a response from anybody. We're under attack. Please send help. Like, he's sending out a distress signal.
Sure.
And his kids are kind of freaking out a bit, and they're like, "But Dad, what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna deal with these space pirates?" And he tells them, he's like, we're gonna
Every
take a
kid's worst
page.
nightmare.
He's
Space
like,
pirates.
hey, I know you're frightened, but just like calm down. You watch after Blip. We have Blip the monkey. We do.
Okay, that's it.
And he's like,
It's on her head.
There's a reason why. It explains why Blip is a thing too. This is what I love.
Oh, okay.
Is by doing it, it
Okay.
explains
All
out the
right.
whole universe on stuff. And he tells him, he's like, just watch over Blip, right? He's not just a pet. He's more important than that. He's more than just a pet.
Okay.
Like, make sure he's safe. And then Jan's like, but what do I need to do? Like, what happens if we split up? Because he tells Jan, and he hands her a gun. He's like, use your blaster training in case you need to.
Jan and Jace don't have powers, right?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They're just right.
All right.
He's like, use
Oh,
this.
he's got them mixed up with the Wonder Twins.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
do, but
Yeah.
that's, I don't know what that is. But he's like, use this if you need to, but we're going to do this as a family, all right? We need to be brave. We've got this.
Sure.
Okay? We're going to go out and we're going to do all this. And he opens up the doors to open up the blast doors for them to escape. And as soon as he does, he's hit right in the chest
man.
with a gunshot from one of the space pirates.
Pew,
Yep.
pew.
As they sit there and the space pirates are ready to just keep, looting whatever
Take
they've
'em
come
out.
in there for.
Yeah.
Yep. He comes in. He's like, hey, we've got a job to get done, gentlemen. Like, and I always collect my bounty. Let's go ahead and see what we're looking for.
Sure.
So the space
They're
pirates are
looking for
kind of
that damn
digging
monkey,
through.
aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
So they're digging through, looking for plans and everything, and they find out that the scientist, their dad, has wiped the mainframe and everything from the
Sure,
computer, so
sure.
they can't access it. So they tell them, like, hey, mainframe's been wiped, and to which the head of the pirate says,
Front to
all
back,
right,
front
then
to
it's
back.
fine.
That's how you wipe a mainframe.
Says, all right, plan B then. We search this place top to bottom, and whoever finds the prototype of this
Or top to
then,
bottom.
yeah, whoever finds the prototype of this, 50,000 credits. Like, and so he
why
makes
is
it a little
always
bit better.
Credits?
I don't know. That's how
That's
it
a
always is
weird
in space.
thing, yeah.
But while they're sitting there and they're fighting, and Jan's getting ready to kind of use her gun for the two of them, like to make an escape.
Yeah, sure.
They see like this plasma beam just kind of shoot out and like take out one of the pirates.
Okay.
And they're about to like, what the? And then another one
here he
comes out and it
comes.
kind of lights them on fire. Like it engulfs one of them in fire
Yeah.
and freezes the next one right behind him.
Bracka is what it says.
It does.
Bracka.
Well, that's how he's shooting. So the head
Sure.
pirate is like sitting there shooting at the guy, and he's like, "You think you're invisible, don't you? No one can hide from my infrared targeting system because
I
he's wearing."
completely forgot that Space Ghost can be invisible.
He can.
Yeah.
See, all this comes
Why is
back.
a ghost?
Yes, he has that little thing. Remember, and
Yeah.
it was just the
Yeah.
outline. Yeah. Well, so
Yeah.
the mask
Kinda
that the
goes-
head of the space pirates is wearing has like this little laser eye, so you can tell it's like trying to focus,
Sure.
and he's shooting like,
It's like a
crazy.
sight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shooting like crazy, trying to get Space Ghost, and he's still shooting. He's like, "Die, blast you, or blast your eyes, just die." But he's not hitting anything.
Yeah.
So about that time, it shows his eyes on the pirate, and they get really wide. And he goes, "No, that's impossible. What are you?" And you get a really cool shot
Oh, that is
of
cool.
Space Ghost there, and
Yeah.
he just says, "A ghost."
Oh, wow.
And about that time, we get over of the twins just watching Space Ghost.
just
just-
cowering because they don't know either.
They don't know either
Yeah.
if he's just sitting there, just like pummeling the pirate again. And he's telling him, like, "You're gonna talk to me," is what
it's
he like
extra
telling
in
him.
Reno when you pummel the pirate.
Pummel the
Yeah.
And so he's shaking him. And about that time, a RoboCore like badge like falls off him. He's like, of course. I don't know who RoboCore is.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
a big
gotcha.
bad
Sure.
at some point in time
Wait, falls off who?
of the head space pirate.
Oh, okay. All right.
And he's like, "You're wading into some dangerous territory or some dangerous waters, getting into business with Robo." Like he's about to tell them. And about that time, Jan goes, "Jace, run!" and like to take off because they don't know what to do. And so the
Well,
two
they don't
of
know if
them,
this guy's good, bad, whatever. It might just
Exactly.
be another pirate coming to get him.
so they're trying to get out of the way, and they're like, "He's gonna get us. Like, what are we gonna do?" And Jan tells them like he's got to deal with all these drones here. Like the security drones will stop him.
Yeah.
Well, it shows like Space Ghost being able to basically just kind of take care of these security drones that are kind of going after him rather easily. Like he's like he is a beast. That is the one thing I love about
Good
this too.
Lord, look at the amount of muscles on
Yeah.
him right there.
Yes.
It's crazy.
But he's able to destroy the drones that are attacking Space Ghosts that are attacking him while the twins still get away because Jan and Jace are twins.
Sure.
And as they go
But
to like,
not Wonder Twins.
they're not Wonder Twins.
They hardly ever activate.
Yeah, they're waiting for the door to open for them to get out of the room that he's in. And as it's opening, Jan turns back around and she's like firing at Space Ghost
Sure.
kind of wildly.
Sure.
And she's just like, come on. I'll try to do the best I can. But it'd be really great if you could hurry it up. And then about that time, we hear a spark and a she hits Space Ghost. And he falls down as the door opens and they're able to slide through and it closes behind them
Gotcha.
then. So and she kind of drops the gun as she goes through. And one of the guys goes, "Whoa there, Missy. I don't appreciate people messing around with blasters, especially if they can't stay frosty on the trigger."
Ooh.
And he sits there and he picks up the gun from her. And he goes, "We're the Galactic Patrol here." You see them there?
Yeah.
He goes, "We're the Galactic Patrol here, kids.
Look
And
like
we need
Ant-Man.
answers."
All of them look like Ant-Man.
They do. He goes, "We need answers about what's happening here pronto."
Yeah.
And so they're like, "Galactic Patrol," like, "Oh, that's who Dad was trying to call."
Thank God.
So they run over and they give them both like giant hugs. And they're like, "Oh, thank goodness you're here. We've been running from this guy in a mask and we thought we were goners, but you're here." And so the Galactic Patrol's like, "Well, this is certainly a first," kind of like, and he's like, "Well, then maybe we got things off on the wrong foot here, kids. We got an SOS call from these coordinates about a space pirate attack." And they're like, "But you two are the only survivors here that we could find so far. Any idea like why they would hit your colony, like why they're coming after?" And Jan goes, "No." And then about that time, Jace goes, "Oh." as he sits there and he speaks up, he's like, officers, I'm pretty sure that those pirates were after my dad's research. Like, that's why they're here. The binary language integrated prototype. We just call him Blip.
Of course. Oh, okay. There we go.
It's an acronym.
Yeah.
And he's like, our dad built
Wait,
Blips.
binary what?
Binary language integrated
Language.
prototype.
Language. Okay.
And he goes, our dad built Blip's neural implant so he could learn things faster than any normal
Your
chimp.
dad is Elon Musk.
This was a scientist. He's like, it could revolutionize brain medicine or even artificial intelligence.
Brain medicine.
Well, or he's a kid.
Sure.
He would say brain
sure.
medicine.
Yeah.
And then so like that's a happy Blip. So that explains though why Blip is a thing.
That is a happy
Blip is their pet, but it's their dad's like he's using this neural implant to
Yeah.
try to help it build.
Yeah.
So that's why Blip's a thing. And we get
Okay.
Blip's name
Okay.
too.
All right.
And about that time, the Galactic Patrol look at him. They go, well, all right. That's good to know, little man.
Hmm.
And they're like, yeah, brother, that sounds like a heck of a payday to me.
Brother.
And then about that time, they're like, what? And then, yeah, brother.
Mhm.
But now it looks like we've got ourselves a little Rugrat problem. And then Jane looks at him and is like, what? And the two of them take off the mask. And one of them goes, what should we do about this delightful pair of loose ends, Captain Brack?
Mm.
Because it's not the Galactic Patrol,
Mhm.
it's Brack from Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Another
And his other henchman, his other Brack friend.
Brack
And they're like, well, the solution is pretty
In the
obvious,
morning.
Captain Sisto. It's Sisto, because Sisto was in it too.
Oh, yeah, I do remember
So it's
that.
Brack
yeah.
and Sisto. And he tells them, obvious, Captain Sisto, there'd be a lot less paperwork if we left no survivors here at all.
Well, yeah.
To which, about that time, something falls, and he's like, holy, the ceiling? And he kind of looks up, and Space Ghost crashes through the ceiling down.
Man, he looks
Onto
cool.
them, but he
he looks
does.
like Batman coming down.
That's what, when I
Yeah.
told you it was like Batman
yeah,
in
he
space.
looks a lot like Batman.
And he comes down, and he's like, I shouldn't be surprised, but a payroll might be tight for Galactic Patrol to be in our, but payroll must be tight for a Galactic Patrol to be in RoboCorps' pocket too.
Yeah.
And the Jan looks at him and goes, I shot you, to Space Ghost. To which he looks at her and goes, yeah, kid, lucky for you, you left it set on stun.
Mm.
He's like, you got me, but thankfully for you, you forgot to turn it off stun. And so Brack is now just kind of yelling at him. He's like, I've heard stories about you, pal. You're the Space Ghost, ain't you? People say you're some kind of phantom. Others think you're a cop who went AWOL.
It's just hard to not hear that in Brack's voice.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Because that's what they did. He
Yeah.
wasn't like that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Coast to Coast turned him
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah.
And so they sit there and they battle back and forth. I just love the action shots in this. It's a
It's very
gorgeous
good, yeah,
looking
it's a
book,
beautiful
man.
book, yeah.
And so like Brack tells him, it doesn't matter, basically if you're a phantom or not. What all I care about is I'm betting you can still bleed. That's why he sits there. And so the two of them go back and forth. And when he raises to protect himself, like it knocks off one of his kind of gauntlets, with his power things off of it. And so Jace grabs Blip and goes, Jan, and like, come on, let's go. Like they grab Blip and they take off running. Brack tells him, like, Sisto, I'm going to go deal with Space Ghost. You make sure those kids don't get away. So while Brack and Space Ghost are fighting, Jace, Jan, and the monkey are trying to escape Sisto. They come up to a hangar, they find a plane, and they're like, all right, we got to get out of here. And Sisto's sitting there looking for all of them, and he does find them. He goes, I know you're in here, Pipsqueak. You can't escape me that easily. And so he finds the monkey. Oh, that's what it is. There's a screen. He turns to look at the monkey, and so like Sisto looks at the monkey. He's like, what kind of stupid trick is this? And then you hear, hey, you looking for me, officer? Because he's distracted by the monkey, and Jace has gotten onto the ship, and he pushes a button to kind of send the afterburners out
Oh, yeah.
to hit
Yeah.
Sisto then,
Yeah.
to caught in the flames to get rid of him there. And so like the monkey and Jace are sitting there like celebrating their win. Brack and Space Ghost are fighting back and forth, and Space Ghost has that little like shield that he's able to put up, that force field. Well, Brack realizes like, yeah, your force fields seem pretty tough, don't they? Let me guess, all those are condensed particles deflecting my shots off of you. Too bad those particles also make the perfect carrier for a subsonic grenade. And he kind of like throws it in, and it breaks through, I guess, like the little shield he has. And the like pulses and the waves and the sound are like just getting to Space Ghost. And he like kind of like collapses down to his knees, like hands on his head. Like it's obviously like,
Yeah. Yeah.
getting to him. Jan is watching all this happens, hurries over to grab Space Ghost's, what would you call it? Like bracer or whatever. His thing with the buttons on it.
What do you call? It's like a
Gauntlet.
It's not. I don't know.
Anyway,
It's
she picks up the one
big
that got
old
knocked
bracelet.
off, and she's like, she pulls it on Brack, and she goes, you got to stop. Sorry, Brack, but you'll have to get through me first, because he's talking about how he's going to basically just stop. Like this, what's happening to you now is the sound's getting to you. It's going to crush your skull. Like, I've defeated you.
Yeah.
And Jan, holding the little gauntlet pointing at Brack, tells him, like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go through me first. And he's like, oh, what's the matter, girlie? You aiming to be first in the line of the great beyond? And she tells him, and I do like this, she goes, no, I don't appreciate people messing around with blasters, especially those who can't say Frosty on the trigger. And about that time, she shoots off a laser, not at Brack, though, at the grenade, which ends up like destroying the grenade, brings Space Ghost kind of back out of his little funk, and he's able to beat up Brack. So the two of them go, and like she goes to find Jace and Jan find each other, and they're scared and like, what are we gonna do? While Superman's like, our Superman, while Space Ghost is battling Brack.
Super Ghost.
Yeah.
Space.
Like the two of them are there, and they're like, oh, we almost died, but we're safe now. Everything's going to be all right. And Jan goes, no, I don't think anything's going to be all right again. Like they're sitting there just kind of
Well, yeah,
very
their
traumatic
dad's
experience.
dead.
Exactly.
I mean, all this stuff.
She's like, Dad's dead. The colony's gone. The Galactic Patrol is after us. It's just you and me and Blip now. It's like she's there. She's like, there's no one left to help us, Jace. Everyone else is gone. And then about that time, we see like a hand reach down, and it grabs the, I don't know what to call him, the gauntlet off of her arm. Yeah, and he pulls it, and you see like a speech bubble say, where was it? Oh, a speech bubble say, no, not everyone. I'm here. And that's where it ends.
Oh, wow. Oh, he looks fucking cool.
He does, dude. And so what we have then now is like the two orphans are like, oh, we're all alone. And Space Ghost is like, no, you got me. So it looks like Space Ghost is going to rescue these orphans as next we journey to the ghost planet.
Ooh.
So it says escaping. I'll even give you a clue of the next, or a tidbit of the next one. It says escaping from the wreckage of space colony Omnicron, Jan, Jace, and Blip and their rescuer travel to the ghost planet, the mysterious headquarters of the even more mysterious Space Ghost. Leaving on an urgent mission, Space Ghost gives explicit orders to the three survivors: stay put. Two children and a monkey left alone in a secret space hero's lair. What could possibly go wrong? Hint, this issue also features an unexpected flight of the Phantom Cruiser.
Ooh. That's the big plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they just call them arm shields is what they're called.
Okay,
Yeah, I looked that
so,
up.
but he
They're
takes one of the arms. I
shields.
just love the way it ends there on that.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is really
well
nice.
done.
So
But
we have
again,
something
you
to look
put the ears
forward
on him,
to.
that's Batman.
It is. We have something to look forward to, but I am really liking
I like how
Space Ghost.
sturdy this comic.
Dude, it is. It's nice. That card stock. Yeah. But I really love the art in it. I really like the story. I loved seeing a serious Brack, specifically when he always just sounds kind of like a bit of an idiot every time on Coast to Coast. Yeah. This was a Brack that was worth something. And I also love, because it made Space Ghost seem like a bit of a dork on Coast to Coast.
Sure,
But even going
yeah.
back and watching like the old 60s cartoons,
Yeah.
he's very much a product of that time of where it's like,
He is.
oh, I'll save you, Jan and Jace, like
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And I like this more of it's just it's Batman in space, and I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
So there we
it's
go.
really well done.
That is Space Ghost.
For what it is, it could be really silly, but it's
It
not.
could be,
Yeah.
and I really like it, and I will be picking up issue 2.
Yeah.
We are going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, though, we will close out our double feature by finally getting to Feral. Since I teased it so much, we'll actually get into the story then. We'll have that coming up next, right after this, on Bros, Foes, and Heroes. Welcome back into Bros, Foes, and Heroes as we continue our episode today, and we will pick it up another double feature. We covered Space Ghost before we went to break,
Yes, we did.
and now we're coming back, and I talked about it a little bit. I was going to do it first, and we ended up changing it up and going with Space
Yeah.
Ghost, so now we'll come back to Feral. A really good book
I always
that...
thought Sarah had 2 R's.
No, 1 R.
Huh.
Yeah. The more you know, shooting star. Something I found because I read the notes page at the back of this finally.
Can I ask you something just real quick before you get into this?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Does the fact that Hulk Hogan's just staring at us the whole time, does that bother you?
A little
We're
bit.
in a sports studio here that we're recording, and we have these giant posters of like Sports Illustrated covers, and there's two places for me to look. There's one where Hulk Hogan's staring me down.
Yeah, he looks right at us.
And then I look over there, and there's the Boz.
Staring at you too.
I feel like the Boz seems like he's coming up with a plan.
Well,
or
the
something.
thing is, also next to Hulk, there's is
Mhm.
it Mark Gastineau
Mark
and
Gastineau
LT,
and LT.
Lawrence Taylor,
Yep.
and neither of them are necessarily like, I don't know. It's just there's nothing.
No, that's a weird one right there.
That's why I've
That
been
is-
focusing on you most of the time, or I try to look right
Yeah,
down at the barrel
yeah.
at the people.
I think we're gonna have to take those down next time. We
probably because they are
record.
very distracting.
They are very distracting.
But
Okay,
Farrell,
so you read the notes.
yeah, so I read the notes. Something that I did not know going into. I thought this was going to be another like short run series
Yeah.
like Stray Dogs was.
Yeah.
No, this is an ongoing
Oh, really?
series.
Oh, wow.
They've actually at work on the second story arc here, which is kind of cool.
Oh, very cool.
Also, I found. Well, I'll wait till the end to kind of give a little bit more about that. But let's talk about Feral, brought to you by Image
Quaker
Comics,
Oats.
but writer Tony Flex. I'm gonna have.
Flix Flex.
I feel so awful that I have not been able to get it
Well,
right.
that's when he brags about something. It's a Fleek Flex.
That's not. I will have it right next time because he's a tremendous writer, and I should
Yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's not the first time that
I
someone
know.
has
Still,
mispronounced his name.
art is Trish Forstner
Forstner.
and Tone Rodriguez, colored by Brad Simpson. I love this because I don't know exactly what it is, but Cougar Magic was Sarah Richard, editor Dennis Culver, designed by Lauren Herda and Erica.
One of the
Schneck.
credits is Cougar Magic?
Cougar Magic. Cougar Magic.
Huh. I don't know
There
what
you go.
that is.
I don't know, but I'm telling you, this is going to be really good. It starts off, first of all, the art, and we'll kind of throw it up
Oh, yeah,
there.
it's beautiful stuff.
I love
Beautiful.
it was a perfect day. This was every day.
Well, even the
But-
shading in this kind of thing is so dramatic. Like it's not. There's not. You don't ever see something like on that first page.
Uh huh.
There's nothing that has like. The shading is very dramatic, and like if you look at the roof there or
Mhm.
the ceiling,
Mhm.
you see how the shading just comes across in a straight line.
Yes.
There's there's nothing soft about it.
I also love the blur, like the intentional blur of outside
Mhm.
too. Like it's just
Mhm.
all.
Done really well.
The book is gorgeously drawn.
Yeah.
So what we are introduced to our main characters, it's going to be these three cats.
Mm-hmm.
Elise is one of them. One of them is named Lord, and the third one is named.
Did you ever
I'm
see
trying to-
Cats?
The musical?
Yeah,
No, I saw
didn't either.
Aristocats. That was good enough for me. I like that one.
that was pretty good. yeah.
Everybody. Oh, I can't move.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the third cat's name, and I can't right at this time. It's gonna be right at the end because they call his name out for him.
Mr.
Patch.
Silly Whiskers.
So it's
Oh.
Patch, Elise, and Lord are our
Okay.
three main characters.
Patch is a great name.
But all we see at the beginning is Patch and Elise, and they are in like these cages
Okay,
in like a pet or
they're like in a pound.
well, no, like in like a transport vehicle though.
Oh, okay.
So like an animal rescue
like they've
vehicle,
been
or like
picked up
they've been picked up
by
We
the
don't-
pet police or
yeah,
whatever.
we don't know if but by animal control of some sort,
Yeah,
they've been
sure,
picked up and they're in
sure.
there. So Elise is yelling out for Lord, like
Can-
trying to find him.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I had the animal police come to my house one time. What?
Quit banging on the mic.
Oh, am I banging on it?
I don't know. It just
Oh,
looked like
I'm
it.
sorry.
I don't know why I went into
I'm like,
straight.
well, I'm like laying down at this point.
It just
um,
smacked you. Maybe it wasn't
so-
a mistake for us to do the chair.
So I had the animal police come to my house one
Mm-hmm.
time because they were returning my pig to my house.
You had a pig?
I had to get the pig out of the animal control vehicle and take it to my backyard. And the guy said he wouldn't find me if I would just clean the pig poop out of the little cell that the pig was in.
Oh, okay. How was that?
We're in Hewitt, Texas.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, this is a suburb of suburbs, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is a very suburby place. And in my backyard, I had at this time the pig was only, I don't know, maybe 25 pounds, something like that, about the size of 3 footballs when you put them together. I
Okay.
guess. I don't know.
3 footballs weighs 25 pounds?
Well, if it's a pig, yes.
Gotcha.
That's just math.
Ah.
But this pig, we bought it because we thought it was a potbelly, and
Mhm.
it was. But my stupidity, I didn't know there were big potbellies and little potbellies.
Gotcha.
By the time this thing grew up, it was 250 pounds,
That was a massive pig.
and it would just scream.
Oh, I bet.
I don't know if you've ever heard a pig
Yes, I have.
scream.
Yeah.
This thing was mean. His name was Murray, after Bill Murray,
Uh-huh.
right? And he would help the dogs get out. So he would.
Nice.
What I had him in a little pen. I've never told you this story.
No.
I had this giant pig in this little pen that I had made, and the dogs would come up. We had like 5 dogs at the time. I don't know what the hell we were thinking, but we had all these dogs, and the dogs would come over and root up the little fence. The pig would get out under the fence. This is just like chicken wire fence, right? But it's crazy to me that pigs look at that and go, "Oh, I can't do anything with that." But the dogs would pull up the chicken wire. The pig would go under the chicken wire. Then the pig would go over to the fence, eat some of the boards off, so that everybody could get out and run the whole neighborhood. And so at one point, this was before the guy brought him back.
Yeah.
I was looking for him because everybody had gotten out. This is a bane of my existence at this house, by the way. All of my animals get out and run around. What happened this week?
Yeah.
You know, I told you about that. And so anyway, they all got out, and I'm like trucking down the street, you know, as you do when your pets get out.
Yeah.
And I crossed this lady. She's out, you know, speed walking or whatever the hell you call it. And I said, "Ma'am, excuse me, did you see some dogs run by?" She goes, "Yeah, there was one like real big black one, and then there were a bunch of little ones behind him." It was the pig. She was describing the freaking pig running around, but she thought it was just a big weird dog.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
So she
that's
just
too
couldn't
funny.
fathom the fact that a pig would be running down
around
her street.
That
Yeah.
is too funny.
Anyway, there you go. There's my
right, there you go.
animal control story.
So there in the back.
You hit me because I was banging on the microphone.
No,
God.
I didn't mean to.
I understand the rules now.
I just kind of
Yes, sir.
mommed you, but
I'm
that's
just
fine.
kidding. You're good.
So Elise and Patch are in the back of this truck,
Yeah.
and Elise is calling out for Lord because she doesn't know where he's at.
Sure.
And Patch is like, he's fine. Like, you don't have to keep yelling out. And she's like, no, he's not. Like, if he was, he'd answer us. Lord, answer. You know, she's
True.
kind of freaking out
Yeah.
a bit. And Patch is like, okay, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing me. Like, you can stop yelling. Everything's going to be fine.
Mhm.
Like, they're going to come fine. Like, everything's going to be okay. And Elise is like, I don't know. Like, I just need to know he's here. Like, if he's here, then everything's going to be okay.
Mhm.
Well, we see as
And this is a story that could have been a Disney story or whatever. When these pets are all locked up and
Together,
they're
exactly.
worried about each other, and that's their whole world.
we flash inside the truck where over the radio it says, Unit 4, we just got another pickup in for you. And the driver's is like, geez, another one? Do we even have room? Because
Yeah.
they do look pretty packed on the
Yeah,
back.
so many.
Well, they come around the corner, and there is a fox there that you can tell looks a little rabid.
Mhm.
I do want to point out, remember that it says that, you know, this was perfect. This was, you know, every day
Yeah.
before. Like, there's themes through the art.
Mhm.
I don't get it all away. And they come around to see. I love the way this art is done.
Oh
man.
wow, that's beautiful.
They come around the animal control vehicle. It comes around the corner and it skids to miss the fox, and it slides off the cliff, like the side road there, and crashes down into the embankment below. But it's the big words before everything flipped upside down, which is the truck actually then flipping upside down.
But if you can't see this, it's 2
me crash
pages
off, and I'll try to
of
flash
like
it.
swaths that
Yes.
come through at an angle that tell the story.
But
like,
it's all each panel too. It's
well,
like
it just
panel,
feels
panel,
so
panel,
chaotic
yes.
too. You know.
Oh, and it's gorgeous. I love
Yeah,
the switching
really
of the
well
colors. And so everybody's running out of the truck, but Elise and Patch turn back around. They're like, "Oh no, like Patch, where is he? Like, I can't find Lord. Where is he?" And that's when we get our giant
Oh wow.
opening splash page, which I really love
Yeah,
for
it's a
Feral.
2-page thing with the
It
giant
is,
feral.
and they're
on it,
just
too.
calling out for Lord's name, trying to find him. Well,
So we're to assume that they were all in the
they're all in the truck together.
in the truck. Okay.
The
All right.
two of them
Good.
are together. They can't find their third kind of partner cat.
Yeah.
And so Elise is calling out for him, like, "Where are you, Lord? Where are you?" And Patches is like, "No, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Like, glad you're calling
You're here,
out for
dude.
Lord."
What
Yeah.
do you, I mean, come on.
And Elise is like, "Yeah, I didn't. I'm sorry. I just like what they're trying to figure out like what happened." And Patch is like, "Well, we were at home, you, me, and Lord, and then those men, they put us in their crates." And Elise is like, "Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Like I know what happened. I mean, like what
You
happened?"
were there. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, "Well, I don't know. Like we were in the back of the truck, and then it flipped. Like I think we just stay here, and like they'll just come find us. Like
Sure.
our humans will
Yeah.
come find us."
Yeah.
Um,
That's a very consistent like Disney kind of
Disney
thing.
thing.
too,
It's like,
yeah.
we just
Yeah.
stay
All
here.
those go to heaven. I know that's not Disney, but you know what I'm saying,
exactly. And so Lisa's like, "What about Lord? He's..." And Patch is like, why are you always so worried about Lord? He always finds his way back home. And Elise is like, no, he always doesn't. And we get kind of like a flashback of like the family outside looking for the cat while Elise is, I'm assuming, like back watching from the house. So just kind of like she's worried about him getting lost before on his own.
We're going to see that jingle on the last page. Is that their collar?
Yeah, or I think they're like jingling keys to try to get the cat to
I
come.
see.
Yeah.
Every time I see something like that, I think of the line from Butthole Surfer's song, "Jingle of a Dog's Collar" would go well right here. Yeah.
Yes.
Every time I see the word jingle, I don't know.
That's a weird thing to think of.
Isn't it weird? Yeah.
Yeah. So Patches is like, Elise, like we need to stay right here. The driver knows where we're supposed to go. Like, he'll call for help and they'll come, and we just wait here and they'll take us where we need to. And Elise is like, the driver isn't there. Like, she can't see him in the truck. Yeah. And the other one, he isn't. Out? Huh?
The other one
we don't know.
Out? Oh,
she's like, and the other one, they're not going to help us.
Yeah.
And you can see like his arm like hanging through the window. He's dead.
So one of them's dead.
One of them's dead. Missing. We don't know where the driver's at. And they're like, we are. So Elise is like, we kind of have to find Lord. And Patches is still, he's like, no, I'm not, I'm staying put. The driver will find us. He'll come back here. He's got to come get help to look for this. Like, they'll find us.
Mm-hmm.
And Elise is still just battling. I'm trying to look for Lord. And so it's an argument back and forth of, I want to go, I want to stay, kind of in a way. When all of a sudden they hear come in, somebody, respond, please. And so they like perk up a bit and they hear, Unit 4, are you there? Hello. Mm-hmm. And so they like run into the woods to try to find it. And they look up in the tree where they hear the radio. And that is the other driver has been thrown from it. And he is stuck kind of laying across a tree.
Yeah, he's just
I'm a presume he's
limp in a giant tree, yeah.
And it's just like, please respond, Unit 4. And that's when Patches is like, oh, so maybe we don't. And he's like, Elise? And she's like, I need a minute. Like, I need to figure out what we're going to do then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, And she's like, I just need to be alone. And they're sitting there and she's thinking and she's trying to breathe and she's thinking. And all of a sudden she sees, it's weird. It says 3 little kittens all lost. And we get like this ghost cat lost. And she thinks back to, it's like a memory.
God, this looks like Disney.
It does, right? It's like, Lord, meet your big sister Elise. Elise, be nice. Like where it's her, like remembering back, thinking of him. And we see this cat again, lost again. Does he know? And then watch out. She realizes what she thought she was seeing isn't necessarily it's some other kind of animal. And she's like, oh, thank goodness we're not the only ones left out here.
She was kind of dazed.
She was in the whatever stance, and it looks like it's a raccoon. And she's like, oh, okay, we're not the only ones out here. Do you know where we are? And about that time, the raccoon turns and looks.
Ooh.
And it is like a rabid raccoon.
Raccoon's not in good shape. Yeah.
He's like foaming at the mouth.
Red
and she
eyes.
goes, wait, you're not a cat. And she starts like backing up. And it's a very rabid raccoon that starts chasing after Elise. So she's calling out for help while a raccoon is chasing her. And Patches shows up and knocks him into the water where the two of them kind of have a tussle in the water a bit.
Yeah.
But Patches is able to kind of kick him away and get back. And Elise is like, what's wrong with him? And he's like, I don't know. We just kind of need to get away from here.
Yeah.
And they back out. And the raccoon, obviously this rabid raccoon
cats
is
are not
sneaking
going to
after
know
him.
what rabies is.
No, exactly.
Something's different.
Yeah. And about that time that they're looking to try to get out and watch out, a fox kind of, jumps in to save the day and like attacks.
Jumps into, it's probably the same fox.
I think it's the
right?
same fox
and
from
it
earlier.
Jumped onto the raccoon.
But as we quickly see, then more foxes show up. And they all have red eyes too.
They're eating the
and
raccoon.
They start tearing the raccoon apart. And it gets very non-Disney very quickly because one of them has like a paw hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Like they tear it to shreds. And the 3 foxes realize, oh, there's cats here too. And they start chasing Elise and Patches then.
Yeah.
To get away from it. So whatever these, rabid
right.
foxes are, they're running wild and they're chasing after the cats.
So much rabies
there
in
are.
This first issue.
And so they're jumping in and out. Well, feral. It's a wild beast.
Well, yeah, I get it, but feral doesn't always mean rabies.
And no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah.
And so they're like they're
My
running
children
through.
were all feral.
They're running through the forest trying to escape from all these foxes. It's like if we make this back, and they're like, this isn't the time. Like let's just focus on running. Like we don't have time for this.
Yeah.
They're on their heels. They find like this little place to hide in like a stump, hoping that they can't get to them. And they hear a Unit 4 like again over the radio. And snap, and about that time, the man from the tree falls, boom, right onto one of the foxes below them, and it scares the other 2 foxes off.
All
right?
Yeah.
So branches snapped, and now it's just
It's a tough
one
way.
less. It's one less fox.
But I'm saying that's a tough way to go.
That's a tough
Yeah.
way to go.
For
Crushed
both
by a
of them.
human.
For
yeah.
both of them.
It scares the other two off, and it horrifies Elise and Patch, rightfully
yeah, sure.
so.
Sure.
And they're just like, "What? And
I love how they kind of look innocent while everything else in the world
looks-
is dangerous. You
Well,
know?
here's the thing I like too is Patch is like, you were right. Like, we have to get back home. And Elise is like, we do.
Mhm.
I also love it looks like it didn't necessarily kill the fox. It's just like
yeah, it
crushed
just crushed him and
It probably
pinned
like
him.
broke his back and just
Yeah.
poor. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of a horrifying
Yeah, it is.
scene.
It is horrifying. Yeah.
But about that time,
It's very Lion King-y, though.
in a way,
you know?
yeah. We just have to whoosh
Yeah.
cut by. There's Lord.
Oh, there he
He's
is.
back, and he's like, Elise, oh my, and she's like, oh Lord, where you're okay, and they're just so happy to see each other. And he's like, Elise, like I've looked all around for you, like there's like a million trees out here. Like Lord is very much just kind of
Sure,
scatterbrained
sure.
around.
Yeah.
And he's like, and what about that crash? So
Mhm,
scary, right?
mhm.
He's like, and okay, and like up on the hill, there was like this deer over there, and so Elise is like, come on, Patch, like let's get going. Like she's just listening to Lord talk,
Sure.
and the two are kind of walking away, and she's like, come on, Patch, like let's get out, like we got to go find home.
Mhm.
But she's listening to him talk, and Lord goes, me and some of the other cats, we chased that deer, but then they turned around and they chased us right back. The deer chased them back.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine.
And he's like, and then the other cats, some of them got really angry, and some of the cats got hurt. And then there was like these badgers, and they were angry too.
Oh.
And the foxes, like something's wrong with them. Like
Yeah.
he's just telling them, like, all these animals are
So
like
we're going through
angry.
this rabies scare with all of
With
these
all
things,
these
right?
animals
Yeah,
is
all
what
these
we're
animals
getting.
are getting rabies.
And
Okay.
Elise is like, Lord, did they hurt you? And he's like, Elise, something's not right out here. And she's like, you're right. Like, that's why we got to get home. And they're like, Patch, like, come join us. And about that time, we look away and we see that Patch is licking his paw from the fight, and it's bloody from the fight that he
Oh,
had
no, he's going to get it.
with the raccoon. And they're like, Patch, come on, I found him. And about that time, we see Patch's
His eyes
eyes,
start
and they're
to
already
turn red.
starting to turn a little bit.
You know what this is? This is a zombie movie, is what this
There
is.
you go.
Yeah.
You picked up on it right at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
And then Patches just goes, coming. And it says in chapter 1.
Oh,
at the
wow.
end.
Yeah, no, that's a great
And
story.
it ends,
yeah.
and
Oh.
it ends with the definition of rabies at the end, which is
Ah,
very
just a big black page with white text, like a dictionary.
to explain what rabies is. And then it's funny you brought that
Wow.
up, because I got the whole like, okay, I was thinking more rabies outbreak kind of plague thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you caught on to the zombie. I didn't the first time reading through, but when I was reading the notes at the end where I found out that, it's going to be a continuing series.
Zombie movie.
He
Yeah.
also brings up, Tony Flex brings up, he's like, hey, cats, like, welcome back. If you've never read one of our books before and you liked it, like, you should check out Stray Dogs. Because that's what he says a couple years ago, called Stray Dogs. It's a lot like this book, except instead of cats, it's about dogs. And instead about rabies/zombies, it's about it's
he
about
literally
a prisoner
says
by a serial
zombies.
killer.
Wow.
He does in there, so it for sure is.
Huh.
This is a
That's very
rabies
cool.
zombie story, except with animals.
That is super cool, though.
So
Let's see.
again, I think that it's going to be another fantastic series. I loved Stray Dogs, and I'm actually and there's an ad for that in the back too, which was really good. But I am very intrigued. April 24th. So yeah, issue 2 is already out. I need to go ahead and pick that up next time I swing by my
There's
local
pictures
place.
of actual cats here.
Yeah, that's what they did with their dogs too. And
that's
Stray
kinda
Dogs,
cool.
they had pictures of actual dogs in the back.
Wow.
But so Feral is going to be an ongoing series. They're apparently already starting on the second story arc. So I'm really interested to see what this is, and this will be one that I pick up as well. I love.
I want to know when these guys get an actual movie.
From
Because it certainly feels like it.
they're able to do horror. And that's the thing that I've learned or I've found out that we tend to like, because it's been done really well in comics here lately, and it's the, I guess, different kind of circumstances from what you would think just from looking at the art. I mean that to say, like, the whole cute but scary has been done really well.
Yeah.
And it's not to a point of where it feels like it's too much, like it's trying too hard.
Well, think
Like
about the 4 comics we've done in the last 2 episodes.
Yes.
Right? So Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, you got animals that are cutesy, Richard Scarry kind of thing.
But it's Dexter.
But it's Dexter. You've got feral and stray dogs. I'll just include both
Yeah.
of those, which is serial killer / zombies, but cute cats and
Yeah, yeah.
animals and stuff. And then if you think really hard about it, the Space Ghost thing,
Very true.
it was super cutesy,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's serious.
Yeah.
Like I do like those things.
There.
Well, even like when it was what Elmer Fudd and
Oh,
Batman
and
or
when
whatever.
Tom King did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are great.
It was.
love
I
those
mean, like some of the
crossovers.
drawings a little bit ridiculous
Yeah,
to
sure.
see like Bugs
Sure.
look like a guy with that big
Yeah.
of teeth,
Yeah,
but at the
whatever.
same point, like it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that
Mhm.
Marvin the Martian was just a guy like talking to
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
He was just a drunk at the bar who
Yeah.
would drink a lot and then mutter about like plutonium. It
no,
was
that's
done.
super
It was
cool.
great.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I look at that stuff and I'm like, we don't have to serious everything. Like the whole Winnie the Pooh thing. Like, yeah, that was kind of funny for a bit, but like I have no interest.
I
in
don't
that.
need 3 sequels to it. I don't
No.
need any of that. I don't need the Steamboat Willie horror. I don't
Yeah.
need.
We don't
you know,
need to
all
do
of
it
that
with
stuff.
everything.
No.
But if you can do it and you can tell a good story in doing it,
So yeah, and so a lot of this goes back to me. Like I don't mean to make it about me, but I'm saying
always.
for me, I love covers of songs,
Mhm.
and this kind of feels that way to me.
Yes.
But I don't like it when people just try to sing the song again.
Mhm.
I like it when they put their
Put a
own
little-
spin on it.
get
Yeah,
that.
those are the ones I love.
Nope. And I'm with you. In that you brought up that it is a lot of the same thing, but each
Mhm.
book feels different in a
It
way
does.
too.
Yeah.
Like you could draw direct parallels between Feral and Beneath the Trees because
Mhm.
it's like animals
Mhm.
in like this cutesy looking world
Mhm.
dealing with very serious things.
Yeah.
But it's two completely different stories, both done very well in their own right too. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just there's a lot of good stuff that we have forward to looking to coming out with these things. So there's actually a lot of good stuff in comics is what I'm
I
still
like
coming
the-
out currently.
I like the fact that we're at a point in history where you can do this kind of stuff because
Yes.
this kind of stuff used to be pushed down.
Yes.
Like they wouldn't let you take that stuff and do it with. I mean, there was certainly a time when you're not using Bugs Bunny for anything but a Bugs
No.
Bunny cartoon. You're certainly not using Mickey Mouse for anything.
Yeah.
And so I understand copyrights fall off and things like that, but we've got more of a attitude about these things now where it's like, let's use it for something else as
Well,
well.
and
And that's a great place to be.
Oh, for sure. And another thing that I'll bring up again, I brought it up earlier this episode, that I like is that all the books we've covered the past 2 episodes,
Mhm.
it's IDW, it's
Sure.
Dynamite,
Sure.
it's not Marvel, it's not DC, it's Image, it's, it's not the big ones. And so that's cool too to see that these are the places that are still, because,
Yeah.
maybe Marvel doesn't do that. Maybe
Yeah.
DC doesn't allow that,
Yeah.
but there's still the places out there that are allowing these series to happen. And
Yeah.
they're, I
Well,
enjoy that.
Some of these, are they arms of the bigger?
Some of them
companies?
might be. Some of them aren't.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't tell you like who has
Yeah.
strength, where all
Yeah.
the.
Image is where
don't know.
Spawn started, right?
Yeah, that's so. Image was like Liefeld, McFarlane, Jim
Mhm,
Lee. Who did Savage Dragon?
That's a great
Eric
place
Larson.
to start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon was never one I got into.
I didn't.
I
either, but
like
just
I
know
love
it's a
Spawn
thing.
though. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. I think just got to issue 300 not too long ago,
Wow.
maybe a couple years ago
It's
or so.
amazing.
And then like Patrick Horvath with that IDW book, I saw an interview where like that is his first like fully like not self-published book. So I do like I don't want to like the fact that he came out of the gate swinging hard like that on an idea, it's just so cool to see because it's so good.
Yeah.
So anyway, a lot of good stuff out there.
It's
We
really
are
good.
finally
That's very cool.
hopefully it is. Hopefully we can get into Red Bee next week. We need to. There's a reason why, because it
Yeah.
sets up the rest of May. You
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like there's
No, I did not.
you did not
Yeah.
know that there's how I love like my little Easter eggs and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
So Red Bee we need to cover because he's gonna make other appearances and other things that
Okay.
you won't know about.
Okay.
That's one thing. There's other I'm not gonna tease all of it, but there's other characters
Yeah.
that are absolutely ridiculous
Wonderful.
from very early on in the show
Yeah.
that are gonna make an
Oh,
appearance.
that's excellent. I
that
love
that are going to
Yeah.
come back
Yeah.
in a place that you might not think.
Black Condor.
Not Black Condor, but
Oh,
we're
okay.
thinking about the right
Okay.
area.
All right. All right. Sure.
Remember
know-
that? You remember the Hemo Goblin?
Yes, I do.
Okay, think
The one
around
that gave
then.
everybody AIDS or whatever
Yeah,
it was?
that was the one. Think around. It's in that same series.
Okay. Okay. I got
Do
you.
you remember-
Don't tell me. Don't
okay.
tell me. Don't tell
Okay.
me. Yeah, bring it to me.
We will. We're gonna get into it.
One other observation just about the comics thing and
Yeah.
turning cute into serious and all this stuff. I just think in the world we've kind of lessened on those seriousness things. So you and I are both big sports fans.
Yeah.
And just recently, I would say within the last 5 years, we've gotten all these brand new uniforms and different versions and all this stuff. You remember a day when you better tuck your shirt in or you're getting fined.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Well, I still remember when like, and I think maybe they still do it, but like they would fine you for like colored cleats.
Yes.
Like if they weren't like the black ones,
Yeah.
even if they're like the team color, they're like, nope, everybody wears the
But
same
boy, in
black
basketball
cleats.
now, you see
I'm
all kinds of colors.
And I'm fine
I
with
love
that.
it.
I love
it. Now, the place that goes bad is when you do those play-in tournament courts because that was awful.
Well, that was because they were so slick and stuff too.
It was awful. I didn't
But
like
you
it.
can get a little
Stupid.
too cutesy with that stuff. But still,
Put the thing
I
in the
don't mind
middle, you're done. You know.
it. All right.
But like I always I go back to the Spurs.
Yeah.
Right. My big
course.
team are the my big team are the Spurs. We're gonna get so in. My big team are the Spurs, and you know, for years and years we were just black and silver,
Uh-huh.
and we never varied from that. The only thing we would ever do is maybe a camo version when we had
Yeah.
military appreciation or
Yeah.
something like that. We had
They
this,
would have the accents of. I just remember the '90s. The accents
Yeah.
of the stripes would
Yeah.
have like those neon, like the
Yeah.
teal or the pink or the orange.
but we
kinda.
went nuts in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and now we got all the Fiesta colors and
Yeah.
all the weird beiges and all kinds of. I love it. I think it's cool.
I'm here as a Rockets fan. Like I do
Yeah.
enjoy. I know that they were red and yellow and white, but I love the black.
Mhm.
I love the the
your,
blue and
I like your ones that said H-Town on them.
oh the
Those were
city
cool.
the city ones this
Yeah,
year,
those were
yeah,
cool.
because they kind of
Yeah.
look like the
Yeah.
college uniforms.
Even though it's
almost.
a rocket, it's still cool. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Well, I'm just saying. You know.
We thank you guys as always for listening to the show, taking the time out of your busy day to do so. If I may plea or request you to check out, there are tons and tons of great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Please give them all a shot. Mike brought up sports. We've been doing sports stuff here lately.
God, we've been doing a lot of sports.
So you should check that out too. I'm kind of a part of that too. Mike's a part of that. We're all a part of that.
Sports.RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Sports.roguemedianetwork.com.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
There we go. Not sports.sports. That would have been a terrible.
Sports.sports.sports.
As always, though, we want to thank you guys
.gov.
for taking the time out to listen. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly, con.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.